Back up. I gotta get the restream chat open. That was annoying. I don't know what happened to my my input audio, but for whatever reason, nobody could hear me. Let's see. Mute the webcam. Okay. All right. I'm glad we are back here. So yeah, for some reason, like I can monitor right through my mic and I can hear myself just fine through my mic. But for whatever reason, the little monitor graphic here was missing from desktop audio and audio input capture, and you guys couldn't hear anything. So I don't know what happened, but Streamlabs was not happy. We restarted. We are back up. I can see you guys in the chat. Hi Schneepak. Hi Gorilla Jacket. Hi General, and everybody else who's here. Yeah, no, the input selection was already made. So, like, this was all set up. I've been using the same setup for months, and yeah, for whatever reason, it just didn't want to play nice today. So, let me get everything open back up here. I need to get a SSD boot drive because it takes too long to restart my computer. So I am glad you can hear me now, and I'm not just talking at the empty air. On Twitch, nobody can hear you scream. So it's just going to take a little while for everything to get started back up here. But we can chat in the meantime while we're waiting for everything to come back up. And play some background music. But you have to be careful with background music on Twitch. Well, because we're streaming not just to Twitch, but we're also streaming to YouTube and Facebook. And on Facebook, if something gets copyright flagged, your entire video gets muted. So nobody can hear you talking and stuff. So I'm trying to just get out of all the startup things that we don't need here. So we're going to exit out of this stuff. We don't need that. And let's try to bring up the news. So we were going to talk about districts, and nobody could hear me. So that's what we got going on here. I see Eltor is asking about that. And will Sandbox have estates like Decentraland? Yes. Well, I don't know that much about Decentraland, to be honest. So I don't know how it works compared to that, but I can tell you how estates will work in the Sandbox. And next sale date has not been announced yet. Yeah, it's not in this article. So I don't know the next sale date, and I can't tell you the next sale date, even if I did know it right now, which I don't. So that'll be announced on Twitter and Medium and everywhere else that you can find Sandbox news. So estate bundling is going to start happening. So an estate can be at least 2 parcels of land, and they have to be adjacent. So originally, for those of you who've been with us for a while, you'll remember that estates used to just be squares, and it used to be the 3x3 and 6x6, 9x9. I think there was 9x9. Or maybe it was 3x3, 6x6, 12x12, and 24x24. I don't think there was a 9x9. And it looks like that has been changed to just be an estate can be at least 2 parcels of land, which is new. So any adjacent lands that you have can be merged into an estate, and that's pretty cool. You'll be able to do more stuff with that. You'll be able to make more kinds of experiences joined up like that. So you can do little Tetramino shapes like that. Yeah, go ahead and check out this article on the Sandbox Medium, which is medium.com/sandbox-game right there, and I'm actually going to put that in the chat for you guys. And there's that. So go ahead and check out that Medium article. It's the most recent one. And let's see. Alpha Perry asks, is there a map picture for 2x2 estates, rectangular estates? I don't think it mentions in this article. You can put this screenshot, but you could do that with any land already. Oh, that's referring to how to enter for the estate contest. So yeah, check out this contest, guys. There's some pretty cool stuff going on with that. I don't think it mentions anything about whether the smaller estates will get to have map pictures. I don't think estates smaller than a 3x3 will get to have map pictures because they're just so tiny when you're zoomed out on the map. You can't really like see them. They're just a few pixels until you zoom in real close, and even then they're still pretty small. So I don't think that's going to have that. Not connected normally though, right? Meaning corner to corner, must be side to side. I believe they do have to be side to side. That's the example that they show. Yeah, the way it says adjacent, I don't think diagonally counts, because functionally you wouldn't be able to use that in the game maker anyway. If you tried putting two lands together like that for a game, if they're not touching side to side, then you're going to have like this little diagonal, and you're not going to be able to have people travel through it. So I do think it does have to be side to side. Maybe if Seb is watching, he could fill in in the chat if he knows on that. And yeah, before I realized we had no audio, I was trying to say that the giveaway tool that we've been using is still not working. It was not working on Saturday, and it is still not functioning. So, oh, thanks for joining us, Choina. Yeah, I'm sorry that you didn't get to catch too much going on with the issues that we were having, but we will see you Saturday. And yeah, just to remind everybody, we're doing Saturday streams and Tuesday streams from now on. So Saturday stream is going to be community building with me. So we're going to I'm going to take your input, and we'll put together a game based on what you guys say. So this last Saturday we did just a little quest where you grab a fishing pole for a fisherman, and then he can catch the fish. And everybody asked to make a wizard in VoxEdit. So we do now have something live for our artists in the Creator Fund, and me as one of the artists slash world developers, is that I can now put custom assets into the game maker. So if I can get that all working nicely for Saturday, we are going to model a wizard. We're going to upload him to the marketplace, and you guys will get to see that process that goes on behind the scenes, and we will put a new asset in the game maker. So that's pretty exciting. Nobody's seen that yet, at least outside the developer circle. So that will be a brand new thing to check out on Saturday morning, Eastern time. And yeah, so today we are going to take a look at what I made after the stream on Saturday. Let me get that back up here. Let's see here. Go to my video files here. Hopefully, yeah, desktop audio looks like it should be working. I can't believe we just had a total audio not working at all. That was super obnoxious. All right, here we go. So this is the new trailer that I put together. Give it a second to load. I had all this up before. All right, so we ended with that classic "Your princess is in another castle from Super Mario Brothers. So I wanted to put together something really quick for you guys that shows the game mechanics really clearly, and something that I could show you how to build. And we've only got a half hour left because the first 20 minutes were spent with technical difficulties, but we will try to get through this nice and quickly, and you guys can see exactly how I put this together, and it'll give you an idea of some of the stuff that you can already do in the Game Maker, and if we have time, maybe we can add on to a little bit. So let's get the Game Maker fired up here. Again, another thing I had up and running before I had to restart. It's just one of those days. And oh, I didn't turn on the closed captioning. Does anybody really want the closed captioning? I can enable it. We'll turn that on. Okay. So if you're watching and either you have a hard time hearing me, or understanding what I'm saying, maybe the closed captioning will help you. Those are available through Twitch. And let's go over and load our level. So if you were with us last time we tried running some stuff in the Game Maker, I was super laggy. A lot of that stuff in the past week has been optimized. It runs a lot faster, and there was also just the level that we were on had like a lot of stuff going on it. So when I'm not streaming, it runs nice and smooth, and then my computer wasn't quite up to the task of handling the really super complicated canyon level. But this one works nice and fine. So let's turn off the hints here. Let's go ahead in gameplay mode, and we'll take a look at what goes on here. So this is just the default 1x1 land if you start a brand new level. And we've got our controls here with WASD, space for jump, and we can move the camera around with the mouse. And so I got hit, but we can stomp on these guys. We can also punch them. So he's not too interested in me right now. Let's punch him. You know, I might not actually be able to reach. We got to fix something here. I thought I had saved this, so I guess I got to edit. Yeah, this jump force was down. I was so sure I saved this before I restarted. Maybe it was the restart that messed it up and I hadn't actually saved it. So now we can jump a little bit higher. And I should be able to punch this guy. Oh, got him. Okay, 2 punches. Knocks him out. And you can see they chase me sometimes if they sense me. Alright, stomped another. Got a couple more guys to get rid of here. And I don't think we'll be able to get that top coin. And we might be able to reach it. Nope. If I hadn't opened up these boxes for those first 2 coins, I would have been able to get the top one there. Alright, then we go down the pipe. And we do have to watch out for the lava because that will kill us pretty quick. Okay, so we can ride a stone over. We've got some more coins here to grab. Alright, and then up the ladder. Alright, and then our brother Matt says, Max, come talk to me, and our princess another castle. So, classic disappointment there. So, what I wanted to show with this is some of the kind of game mechanics you can put together really easily. And all in all, this took me probably about 2 hours in total to put together this whole thing, and that was like from initial concept to perfecting it, because there were some ideas in here that I hadn't explored before, so I was doing some brand new things. It took a little bit of tweaking. If I had to do it now, I could probably put this together in like 15 minutes. Now I think some of these assets might have gotten changed because there was an error that I saw before. Let me just see. Okay, Max is still in there, so there's been some updates to the marketplace. And it's always the same with these princesses. Yeah, that's right. They're never there. You get to the castle to rescue them, and they've all, they've just gone somewhere else, gone and done their thing. I guess they didn't really need help, right? So you can see there's some weird stuff going on here with these crates. And this is actually these are our collision boxes for opening and opening the coin boxes and for stomping our enemies. So yeah, 15 minutes. That I wasn't entirely sure that this thing would work when I started working on it, so that's why it took a couple hours for me to test things out. And then I spent another like half hour, 45 minutes, kind of tweaking the values, making sure I was happy with them. But to duplicate this level right now, I could very easily copy and paste these guys. All of these enemies, which are supposed to be kind of like the Goombas from Mario, they're really just bushes. They're just copy and pasted from each other. These crates are copy and pasted, so it's really fast to iterate on these ideas. So what we've got going on here is we've got max, and we just have our values set up for the default avatar behaviors, and then I increase the jump a little bit, because what's a Mario style game without being able to jump real high? And if we look at our hierarchy here, we can see max is here, and then we've got this little arrow pointing down and these little brackets that stay. Well, that one says wooden box. I don't think I changed the name on that, but we can call that, we'll just call it as hat. Okay, and it doesn't update over there. You can rename them separately. Eventually those should say the same thing. And then this one's called stomp. Okay, so if I need to find these, let's say like I make a really big level and I've got like 1,000 objects in here, I could just type in hat and I'll be able to find it really easily. So that makes things nice and simple. So what's going on with the hat and stomp is that they're children objects of max here. So yeah, I can actually like shrink it if I wanted to. And what it means that they're children objects is that when he moves, they move. So if I turn the visibility on for them, and we go back and play the game, we'll actually be able to see them moving with him, like that. So you don't actually have to use a crate to do stuff like this. I could use any object. Oh, I fell off the edge. But I used the crate because it was a nice cube shape that was simple, nice simple bounding box. It was the right size for what I needed. So if I wanted a larger collision area, I could use a bigger object. If I wanted a smaller one, I could use a smaller object. Probably some things in this would work a little bit smoother if I used a smaller object, but for testing purposes, it works fine just with these. And by dragging and dropping these, and see the names all changed to wood, so that's a silly little glitch, but we're still in alpha here, so we're working on those things. But if you search, I think it'll still come up. Yeah, it still brings up just the one hat. So by turning off visibility for these, they still interact with things, and by being children objects, they get dragged around to wherever Max moves. So as I run and jump up on the Goombas, they'll intersect and trigger the Goomba death. So what we've got going on for the object behaviors is this stomp box is a message broadcaster behavior, and it's broadcasting stomp in a range area of 1, which is a nice small, you can actually see it if I move it up. Nice little area there. I'll put it back. So I want that down underneath his feet, because if I just run up to the Goomba, I want it to be able to hit me without dying. So if I go over here, it comes and attacks me and it doesn't die immediately. But if I jump up like that, it kind of does. But I've already taken some damage. So that's one of those things where doing a smaller hitbox would probably make more sense. But the idea is that even though you can't see it, when I jump up and come down, that message broadcast to stomp is pushed right through the ground predator behavior here, which is set up in its advanced logic to have a kill message of stomp. So it's waiting to see that stomp message when that box gets in range, and as soon as it gets that message, it dies. So the the death delay I set to -2, because if I set it for like 0, there's still like a second or two where it kind of like takes a little bit. There's no death animation on this asset because it's just a bush. So having it to -2, it actually like pretty much instantly will destroy it. And yeah, hi Mad Maraca. And then the ground predator behavior is pretty much just the defaults. I did set up different stuff for the health. There's no regeneration on health. They've got 2 health, so if you punch it, that takes away 1 health, and if you stomp on it, it kills it instantly. So you get like Mario 64, you have the option to like punch or to stomp on enemies. I set up its areas so that way it's gonna stay pretty much in its little box here. And then the coins are the same sort of thing, except instead of being a ground predator with a kill, this is a replace asset object. So the behavior is replace asset, and when it receives the message bump, which is what the hat object is broadcasting, it will replace itself with a treasure shield, or what we're using as a coin. So right now there's no like coin point behavior that I can have it create, but it does display as the coin when you burst through it. There's a couple other things like that we could do with that. We could instead of having a box, we could have the coins floating and have those destroy themselves when we touch them, so it would look more like in Mario when you get a coin. There's other features that we could add in with that sort of behavior, and I was hopping around too much. We'll give it another shot. So something we could potentially do is, instead of having the boxes, we could just have it be a coin, and then when we touch the coin, it will broadcast a message to somewhere else on the map. Something if you've watched a lot of like Minecraft redstone videos, is that they'll use kind of like unique object counters and stuff that aren't immediately visible. So somewhere else, say like under the level or something, we could hide an asset spawner, and every time we hit a coin, it could spawn an object elsewhere in the level, and another object is waiting for all those assets to be spawned. So you could do like game victory after collecting 5 coins, or you could unlock a door after finding 3 keys or something like that. So there's different possibilities with that. Now we need to get a brush here, so I need an object. Let's grab a block here. Alright, so now I can erase the wall and we can see what's going on here. So inside we've got this lava going on, and if we look at the settings for Max here, we can actually set what kind of blocks will damage him. So we go down to block damage. So I have it set to be a lava block. I could set it to be like grass if I wanted, or dirt or stones or whatever. Any kind of block, all I have to do is type in its name. So in this case I have lava, and it does 1 damage every tick that he's standing in it. And we only have 5 health, so that's not a lot of time to be standing in the lava. And then just a basic moving platform here. It moves +5 on the x-axis, which is this way, and then it returns back to where it was. Stepping on it will track us along so we don't fall off just by being on it. You do have to be careful jumping because it won't keep pulling you along if you jump off of it, so you need to be careful not to fall in the lava then. Any jumping sound or breaking sounds? Not unless they added it and didn't mention it to me. Let me see what we've got for sounds here. So we do have You know, actually, I can probably add the sound here. Maybe I can't add it there. You can add sounds when you interact with something. So if I put, let's put an object down, and I can show you what sounds do right now. So we'll put this torch here. So we got a torch, and oh, you know, I like those. I actually hadn't used this asset before. That's really pretty. Yeah, play sound component is what we would use. So, did you see that and I didn't see it? Oh, it is there. Okay. So let's see if I can add that over here. Somehow my eyes skipped right over it. I think I was looking for sound, like starting with an S. So let's try play sound component. And you see you can set a really wide range for these. And we're going to play on receiving message. So when it receives that bump, we can also have it play the sound. And they did add a whole bunch of new sounds. So it used to just be click. And we've got radio static, relaxing music. Looks like it's the same ones over and over here. So we're just going to do click. And I have to tell it what the trigger is, so it's bump. And we're going to see if that works. And no, we don't want it to loop. So let's give that a try. So it should be that when we bump this, it should play click noise. And you might not be able to hear it, although if you guys heard the video, you should be able to hear it. So, well, I didn't hear that. So, let me see if we set that up right. On receiving message of bump, well, it should have played. So this is one of those things that's still being worked on. This is a new feature. Like I said, I didn't even know that the additional sounds were in there till just now when we looked at it. So when I looked at this a couple days ago, those sounds weren't even there. There's a whole bunch of reasons why that might not have worked this time. We can try, let's try relaxing music. I have no idea what it sounds like. We'll see how relaxing it is. And oh, you know what? Because this gets replaced, that might be why it's not working. So let's get rid of this component here, because this immediately gets replaced by that coin asset. So that might be why it's not playing the sound at all for us, because we're immediately getting rid of the object. So let's just add the torch, and we're going to tell it to play the sound when we interact with it. So we're going to play on player interact, and we'll do relaxing music or radio music. We'll do radio music. And play. So I apologize if the volume's weird on this, because I have no idea what this is supposed to sound like. Hey! There you go. Ooh. Sorry about that. That got really loud. That surprised me. So let's get rid of that. I don't know if it went over to the radio static like a playlist, or if that was part of the same sound effect, but that made me jump a little bit. So yeah, you're seeing like unfiltered me learning here right now, because that was a new sound effect there. And yeah, as I get more time to play around with these features, I'll be able to show you something a little more polished. But right now, we're just learning. We're having fun and we're learning. All right, so we go down in the lava here. Lava can damage us, and Then we've got a ladder here. Now I did have to make this hole wider because the size of the ladder, just these few little voxels here, ends up making the hole too narrow if it's just a 1x1. You might have noticed when I tried to go down in the hole, I had to like take a few little steps. So right now the diameter of the player is a little bit wide, and I don't know if I can still change that. Let's see. I can change the interaction range. So in the previous version of the Game Maker, you could kind of set up the width of your character. You could make their collision wider or narrower. And right now it's just preset to be default for the avatar size. It's not based on the collision box. It's like set up in here. It's just not a setting that's visible right now. So if we were to say like make the avatar like the size of a building, his collision box would still be this little tiny thing. So that might be something that changes later on to either automatically change to the width of your character, or it might be what it was before where you could manually set it. So right now the feature is not in 0.1, that was in 0.08. So there's still stuff changing in the interface and what settings are available. So the size of the avatar is very close to this 1x1 block hole here. So you kind of have to line up just right to fall in, and then with the ladder in place, it is too narrow for him to go up the hole, so I did have to make it 2x1 wide so he could go up. And then we've got your brother Matt here, and he activates the victory component when he collides with the avatar. So you just have to like walk up and basically like touch, and that's how you win the level. So yeah, really, really simple, but there's a lot you could do to extend this. So like we already show, jumping up on platforms, you have to be careful not to fall off the side or you get stuck down here. We could make it so the whole floor was lava, so it would kill you instantly. You don't even have to have lava. You could have this be like empty space and have a what would be called a void collision. So let's set that up. What trigger do we want? It doesn't really matter what object. Here we go. We'll do this void. I guess this is an object from the Sandbox evolution, which I have not played that much myself, but this is for getting rid of fluid simulations. And we can move it up a little bit, and we say that this will be a void. It's not going to destroy any blocks, but it will destroy the avatar. And we're going to edit the logic. And we'll say 96, oh no, not that one, 96 by 96. So this is basically the whole area of the map. If we zoom out here. Okay. So that's a whole big collision box. It will destroy the avatar. Now I'm not sure if that'll trigger a game over, but we can see what happens. It might just glitch it. Okay, yeah, no, nothing happened. We're actually going to switch that behavior over to none, and we're going to do a game over component. Let's see, defeat component on collision with the avatar. So the problem that we have with this is that it's actually too small to collide. So let's see, what would be the best way to do this? We could grab some big objects. You could just make the whole floor lava, or we could have it send a message. So if you do, let's find a nice large object, something that will be easy to run into. That one's pretty big. We'll try that, or we can actually try, I think the biggest ones are the buildings down here. I think that'll probably be the easiest to work with. And we're going to smooth out the floor with we're going to actually get rid of the floor. So we're going to add that. All right, and we can just very quickly delete all of that. We don't want to delete the lowest layer yet because it will actually make it more difficult to place the objects. And we're just going to clear all of this out. So if you're like me and you really liked the old Super Mario 64, a lot of the levels were like in the sky, sort of. Like you could it didn't like have any reason for being in the sky other than that there was like some place you could fall. There wasn't really a logic behind why everything was in the sky. It's just the way things were. But if you've been watching the Sandbox YouTube, there's actually a lot of cool stuff getting posted there. We have a new trailer, which I showed a little bit of on Saturday, by Tybalt Samar, one of our lead artists, and he put together this awesome sky world, which works really nicely with the concept of having all these interconnected lands. Okay, I think that's good enough. All right, so now we're going to lay down a building, and we're actually going to put it on its side because it's wider that way. Whoops, I didn't grab the right part of the widget here. There we go. All right, so now it's at 90 degrees. I'm gonna put it just like that. So it's going to be a message broadcaster. Okay, and we're going to have it say game over and set just a really big radius on it. 100 should, yeah, that'll reach the whole other end of the level. And we're going to set it to invisible. This is the same thing that we did for the collision boxes. And that's all we need to have that do. So now we're going to Control D to duplicate and move that out. Okay, now I can select both. Control D again, duplicates both of them, and select all those. And I think we only need one more layer this way because we can't really jump that far. Like that. Okay, so we're kind of like overextending how far we need this, but it's okay. All right, Control D again, and it's all right if they overlap. Control D and Control D. So right now there's no way for us to get down to this spot. All right, and they're going to broadcast that message over this whole giant area to say game over. Oh. I got ahead of myself. So they need to wait for the message of stomp. So I actually need to undo a few times, get rid of all those duplicates. I wasn't looking at the advanced logic. So, so we want them to wait for the message of stomp when those boots come down. Okay, now this is one part where I'm not 100% sure. This might be a spherical radius and not just a diameter. So let's see what happens. It might end the game prematurely. We're going to have that void, and it's going to wait for the message of game over. So we're going to say none, add component, defeat component, on receiving of the message stomp. Oh, sorry, no, game over, which is what this one's broadcasting. Yep. And that's it for that one. Yeah. So when the stomp box is within range of these, it's going to release a game over message for this to end the game. So it might happen immediately, depending on how this radius works, but we can deal with that. Okay, good. So it didn't happen immediately. Let's just we're gonna test it one more time and see how far we get through the level. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so there I kind of expected this. What's happening is this is a spherical radius and not just it's not just like this cylinder here. It's not a narrow band. It's actually very wide. So we do need to have these a good bit lower and not have the broadcast range be so big. So let's bring it down to 20. I think that should be low enough. If we kind of measure up, and it might be a little bit close, but we can actually lower this down anyway. And oh, we had another one there. We don't need that. Okay. And we can get rid of the rest of these blocks. So we're going to get rid of our whole floor. Oh, I've got a little toddler coming in to say hi. Hi, mommy's downstairs. Yeah. Did you have a good nap? Oh, you sound like you need some water. You feel all right there? Yeah, mommy's downstairs. She can get you some water. Oh, okay. Yeah. You okay? She's at that age where you can like understand some things really clearly, and other things it's just like, yeah, sure, that sounds good. Go ahead, don't hurt yourself. She'll be okay. My wife's downstairs. She's actually probably watching still. She's letting everybody know that she's okay. So yeah, she goes down for her nap at about 2. So usually, what time is it now? 4:05. Yeah. The idea was that I'd be done right now, but we had our difficulties starting, so we're just gonna go a little bit longer. So we got rid of our whole ground here. Okay. And we do actually want to try to get this as low as possible and still within the bounds. So we're going to set it to visible true and see how far down we can go. Okay, hey, that was pretty close. So we can go down just a little bit more. And we're going to increase that radius to, say, about 35, I think. Okay. All right, so now we can duplicate that over. Oh, and we got to make sure to make it invisible. Don't want to forget that, otherwise I have to duplicate them all again. Alright, and then we're going to put this close enough to these. And can we set that to be invisible? We'll figure that out later. Alright, so now I should be on top of the buildings here. And I think it's awaiting. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Broadcast range 35, game over. That's waiting for the game over. Hey, Artsy Mad, how's it going? We're just trying to finish up a game over scenario where you fall, but you don't necessarily have like lava on the floor, because aesthetically that might not be what you want. So we're taking a look at the game logic. We're going to target everyone in range. We're looking for stomp. We're not visible. Oh, I might have put it too low. That's a possibility. I might have lowered them beneath the floor. Move it up a little bit. See if it works now. Okay, I'm definitely standing on them. There we go. Yeah, I put them too low. They were beneath the floor, so I don't think the logic works if you're like outside the bounding box there. So that worked. All right. So now, finally, got that all figured out. We can select everything here, and we can duplicate it and extend our whole falling to our death here. And that should be most of the level. I think we can go back a little bit in case we jump off that way. And you'll notice I'm also grabbing the defeat component right there. So that way we don't have to have quite as big of a range. It's okay if we have multiples of these. Death Up Here asks, sorry if you covered this, was a little late. Can you force a camera angle for the player, like to make a true 2D game? Not right now. That is planned for future versions. So this is pre-release of Alpha 0.1. There's more stuff that's going to be happening. So now we should. So it doesn't quite happen instantly. And there might be something with the speed that the stomp message is happening at. It's weird because it happened pretty much instantly the first time. So let's play around with the logic here. What's going on with the stomp box? But yeah, forcing camera angles is definitely planned. It's just not something that's been enabled at this point. So we could kind of play this like 2D. This game's designed in a very linear fashion, just because it was fast to do so. But we could make this more like a 3D Mario game, going off in different directions if we wanted to. So we've got our message broadcaster saying stomp, no delay, 2D Pac-Man. Yeah, you could do 2D Pac-Man, 2D Mario. Pac-Man's actually a good idea. I think we could do a Pac-Man. Maybe we'll I'll try to do Pac-Man for next week. And I see my daughter's in the chat there saying all sorts of crazy things. Let's see here. We're waiting for the message for Stomp. And it's 0 delay. Solitaire, I don't think we're quite ready for Solitaire yet. Card games involve a lot of logic and like rule sets, and we're not quite there. So you'll see me like messing with these behaviors, and this is what we have to work with right now, are these behaviors, and we're kind of aiming at action platforming and combat kind of stuff. But the plan is that further down the line, and this is probably a ways away, there's going to be visual scripting, so these behaviors can be made totally custom. Minesweeper, you might be able to do Minesweeper, but you wouldn't be able to randomize it. You could do a preset Minesweeper kind of level where instead of having enemies that chase you around, they would be in a static position, and maybe you wouldn't know if they're enemies or not, and you could kind of have like some sort of logic for like finding your way through a minefield. Something like that could work. But yeah, anything with like randomization is not built in yet. So we can't do card shuffles, we can't do random mine placement, we can't do the complicated rules that are needed for a card game, unless someone much smarter than me figures out a way to do it with these behaviors, doing messages and triggers. I think it would be a lot of complicated logic that's a little outside of my knowledge, because I'm more an artist and a level designer, not a programmer specifically. So let's see here. What is going on with this stomp? So we've got the kill message that comes down when you stomp, and that's it for that. So why isn't this working? What's going on with this here? So we've got stomp, we're waiting for message. Stomp does game over, broadcast range 35, that's definitely within range. Messing with these might help, but this setting I'm not too sure on. I'm still figuring out exactly how that behaves. So yeah, I tried the out of boundaries, and it worked last time I fell down, so I'm thinking that yeah, I'm definitely standing on the buildings here, because yeah, you can kind of see me. You can see me run into it, and then I'm going up it like a step because they're not quite even. Hopefully I can do a 3D Bomberman, Bomber Person game one day, LOL. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Bomberman. It's kind of like Pac-Man and Minesweeper kind of had a baby, right? That's sort of what it's like. So I did move that, but that shouldn't have affected it. This is the boundary of the level right here. But I should still be triggering it over here. So it worked on the one we tried. This is one of those things where I haven't had, because we did this just live here, I would spend some time testing it and making sure that it works consistently. And that's the part that's kind of more boring to watch, is just the iterating little testings over and over again. So I'm not going to bore you guys with that. But we did see that it worked before when I had just the one. Already in the message, so that shouldn't actually affect it. So the message is broadcast whether... Oh, I fell off the edges of the buildings. So the message is broadcast even when you're inside them. So it's anytime you're in that range, the message should be firing off. There's 0 delay on the stomp message, so that's actually... It's every single tick that's sending out a stomp message, which is why it always works on the enemies as soon as you stand on top of them, because that range is in there. Battle Royale with a Bomberman. Yeah, there is definitely a plan to do Battle Royale style games. That's been, ever since I joined up over a year ago, that was one of the things that they were interested in having be a part of the games that people make, would be Battle Royale, because they're so popular. Grid lines? I'm not sure what you mean by grid lines. Are there grid lines that you're looking to see grid lines, or you think I'm interacting with some grid lines? I'm not sure. You can, if you hold shift, you can move objects with the grid, so it'll move in half-meter steps like that, or you can leave shift off and it moves smoothly. So yeah, I'm not sure what we did. We did something. We'll try this edit logic, broadcast only on false or true. We'll see what happens with that. Is that too far for me to touch it? We'll do it over here also. Broadcast only on true. Visual lines for the workspace. So yeah, there isn't a grid right now. You can kind of see. Yeah. Okay. So that fixed that. Something with this is the setting that I'm not entirely sure how it works, and I need to talk with the developer more about the broadcast only on false or true. Sometimes this fixes whatever I'm trying to do, and I'm not entirely sure what it does. So I'm going to do some more research on what this setting is, and maybe we can figure it out for next time. Yeah, there's no grid lines. When you have a whole, when you have a setup like this with these blocks, it's a little bit easier to kind of see, especially with like ones like this where you can see the pattern. It's starting to look like Inception. Yeah, one of my first games was like Inception. Actually, there was Fungus Among Us. If you check out my YouTube, youtube.com/voxelize, VOXLIZE, there is a playlist of 30-second trailers that I've put together with the Game Maker, and the first one was Fungus Among Us, which was you're a mushroom and you knock over all the buildings so they all go flying. And then I think the second one I did was Cataclysm City, which is like this city that's been totally destroyed, and there's buildings that are like over sideways and you can use them as bridges and stuff. And then more recently there was Brimstone, where there's all these like meteors falling from a cloud, and there is a building that gets like lifted up and shoved over on its side, kind of like Inception, right over your head as you're running through the level. So yeah, for whatever reason, maybe it's from Inception. I think I liked stuff like that even before Inception came out, but maybe it is because of Inception it put that idea in my head of having buildings on their side. It's just always like really interesting to me. Yeah, so we're not going to save this level like this because I made some weird changes, but I will see if we can figure out what this broadcast only on setting does, because for whatever reason that fixed it, and I'm not entirely sure what that setting's doing. So we will figure that out for next time. So the new format for the streaming, just so everybody's on the same page, Saturdays we're doing the community input on building an RPG world. So we're going to continue where we left off with our fisherman on his little island fishing, and actually before we get to that we'll be modeling a wizard, so maybe we're going to make a wizard to give you a quest in this new world that we're making. So we are going to take a look at VoxEdit and designing a character based on the templates and put that together. And if there's time after that, we'll continue working in the Game Maker on our little RPG world that we're building. And that's just kind of like a cool hangout time. And then Tuesdays, we are doing this, where we're taking a look at the Game Maker, whatever game I built for the week, and we can kind of do a breakdown of levels. So we'll see about doing Pac-Man for next week. I'll try to figure out how to put that together. And yeah, thank you everybody for joining. Sorry, we didn't do a giveaway today. I'm sorry, the giveaway tool is not working, and then with all the technical difficulties, I completely forgot about it. So if we can get more viewers in, we'll start doing land giveaways again. And on Saturday we'll do an NFT giveaway, and hopefully we'll get the giveaway tool working properly. So join me Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, or New York City time, and I hope to see you guys there. You all have a nice rest of your day.